Hey guys, it's Fred coming at you live.
News at 11 with breaking news now. The Supreme Court has just denied the 11th hour attempt by an Indiana man on death row. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bob Donaldson.
And I'm Chelsea Helms. Benjamin Ritchie will be put to death at 1 a.m. That is for the September 2000 murder of Beech Grove police officer William Toney. Tonight, the Supreme Court ruled that his execution can move forward. Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson both disagreed and did want to review Ritchie's case, though Governor Mike Braun has refused to stop the execution.
CBS 4's Russ McQuaid was on the scene that night Officer Toney was killed almost 25 years ago. He joins us tonight from outside the prison where Ritchie awaits the fulfillment of his sentence. Russ?
And good evening, Bob. You know, with the media excluded from witnessing Ritchie's execution, the Indiana State Prison here in Michigan City is on an even tighter than usual lockdown as we all anticipate the hour when the judge's order will be carried out. If the Indiana Department of Correction is following its past procedure, it's believed that Officer Toney's family and their supporters would have been inside a conference room inside the prison for at least an hour now, waiting to be escorted to the building that houses Indiana's death chamber. Ritchie's attorneys and spiritual advisor also are likely on the scene. While I can't tell you exactly what is going on inside tonight due to an information blackout by IDOC, I can tell you from covering other executions what the routine has been in the past. Chances are Ritchie was escorted from his cell on death row before noon and taken to the death house, where he was placed in a small cell next to the execution chamber. He would have been fed his final meal during the afternoon. While in the cell, he would constantly be in the presence of a corrections officer while accepting visitation from a clergy member or spiritual advisor and his attorneys. A phone would be made available should he decide to make any calls. There's also a hotline, open and tested, for the warden and other prison authorities to remain in constant contact with the governor's office and the Indiana Attorney General's office should there be any last-minute developments. As the clock clicks closer to midnight Central Daylight Time, Ritchie will say his goodbyes and be left to await an escort to the death chamber, where he will be secured to a table, an IV inserted into an artery, followed by the introduction of the lethal dose of pentobarbital by a paramedic. There are two physicians in the room, one an Indiana Department of Correction physician, another an independent doctor, ready to stand by and pronounce the time of death. Ritchie has been granted 5 witnesses to his execution. The Toney family has a maximum of 8 seats in the room. When it is over, an IDOC employee will deliver us a written statement that will also be posted on the department website, but won't take any questions. The IDOC execution team is made up of volunteers. They come from facilities all around the state of Indiana. Their identities perhaps not even known to other staff members. Leading up to this, they were practicing about once a month, and then in the last month, once a week, to make sure that this execution comes off as clinically clean as possible. We should know by about 2:30 in the morning, Indianapolis time, about the final word on the execution of Benjamin Ritchie. Bob and Chelsea?
Well, Russ, as we mentioned, you covered this story when it happened almost 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Even if an execution does happen tonight, it does not really bring closure to the Toney family, does it?
No, it really doesn't, and I can tell you from being out there that night, it was chaotic, there was panic, there was anxiety because an officer had fallen and his killer was still on the run through those neighborhoods, and for several hours as the hunt was on, nobody could find him. They didn't know if he was holed up with a friend. They didn't know if he was holding somebody else hostage. They didn't know if he was going to leap out from behind another building and ambush some of those officers and state troopers who responded to that neighborhood. He was taken into custody the next morning, and Bob, you'll remember, we were interviewing him within a couple days inside of the Marion County Jail, where he essentially admitted what he'd done, and at that time showed no remorse.
A case that's literally been going on for decades.
And it's time it ends. Eye for an eye. Killed a police officer. No justification. Guys, you know, my question here is if I was ever on death row, I think I would petition the courts to, why just throw away a perfectly good human being, a perfectly good heart, perfectly good lungs, a liver, spleen, eyes, all the things that they could use and there's people out there waiting for. Wouldn't it be, is it against the law, or I've never checked on it. I imagine it is, but wouldn't it be something if somebody wanted it, instead of just poisoning or shocking or ending their life, to go ahead and put the person under and let him donate his organs. Let him donate what he wants to, and then kill him. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Hey, catch you next time.